Max Verstappen had quite an eventful race in Bahrain, and although a P6 result was definitely wonderful given the circumstances of the race, it's just not the standard that we're used to. The four-time world champion was disappointed with the behavior of the car regardless of the tires, as he focused particularly on the brakes and the instability in the corners. But with Tsunoda being the closest to Verstappen that any teammate has been in the past couple of years, are we genuinely looking at Red Bull dropping into the midfield? And if so, how will it affect Max's future, given the intensive meeting between key members of the team? There's definitely a lot to unfold after the Bahrain Grand Prix if you're Red Bull, because to have both of your drivers start P7 and P10, and both of them managing to climb only one position in the race, is definitely a humiliating scenario to face. Just last week, Max was able to hold off both McLarens for the win in Suzuka, only for him to be fighting with Haas and Alpine for the majority of the race in Bahrain. The primary issues for Max were the brakes and the lack of grip on the tires. He was one of the earliest drivers to hit the pit stop to change from the soft to, surprisingly, the hard compound tire. And to top off the bad luck, the red light didn't turn green when it was supposed to, costing Max a couple of tenths more. Nevertheless, once on the hard tire, Verstappen got passed by both Hamilton and Antelli and was close to being passed by Dan as well. In this period, he went on to complain about the brakes as he said to his racing engineer, "I can't even brake anymore? This is ridiculous." It was definitely not the only negative message that Max had towards his team. Throughout the entirety of the race, the four-time world champion went on to complain about the balance of the car, as well as the understeer he was experiencing along with the unstable rear end. Elaborating on the race in general and how it felt like being stuck where he was, Max went on to say, "The start was not good, then the pace was not good in the beginning already. Tires overheating again. Balance wasn't where I wanted it to be. Then with the first pit stop, something went wrong with the lights. Then I was stuck in traffic. Hard tires didn't work. Lower grip and even higher deg. Then we pitted again, an even worse pit stop, so that I was last. Considering everything, to still finish P6 with the pace that we had is still a good result. There was not much more we could have done." What's even more painful is that the team worked on the brakes before the start of the race, because this was an issue that persisted through qualifying as well. This means that even when they tried to fix the problem, they either made it worse or it didn't help at all, which is why Verstappen has all the right to be mad towards the engineers back in the factory. After the race, Max Verstappen was asked by Viaplay if there's a lot to be talked about regarding the situation, to which he replied, "For you," implying that the media will have a field day with the car issues Red Bull is suffering from. Furthermore, when he was asked about the internal meeting the team will have regarding this matter, the four-time world champion said, Yeah, not at this moment. I don't feel like it." This is probably the main reason why there's an urgent meeting in Red Bull. The people who are going to be present are Christian Horner, Helmut Marko, Pierre Wache, and Paul Monahan. The situation's definitely not good because having the four executives, probably the most important people in the team, having a talk about the car's performance can only mean one thing. They have no idea how to fix it. This means that a graceful downfall into the midfield is to be expected if the technical directive in Barcelona doesn't affect McLaren as much as it's hoped to. You can call Max a crybaby, you can say that we all expected him to win in a tractor or whatever, but that man put that car where it had no business being in many situations throughout his tenure at Red Bull. Therefore, he has all the rights to be angry with where the team is headed right now. Be that as it may, it would be interesting to see what Red Bull's executives have to comment regarding this matter, because a very interesting piece of news arrived from Aston Martin as well. Dan Fallows has been released of all duties with the team. This means that he'll be an interesting piece to add to the picture once everything's sorted out behind closed doors. The four-time world champion hasn't been very positive about his chances to win races in the foreseeable future and has labeled his team as uncompetitive in the upcoming period. But what's even more painful for him to digest is that the team is very unlikely to find a solution for the car's performance. Now we can kind of understand Perez's struggles, because although there's a lot to unfold, The team cannot always bet on an extraterrestrial performance from Max to put the car on the front row. To be so far ahead and win 21 out of 22 races, then be arguably a midfield team without a superstar driver like Max, is just too much to happen in the same regulated era. But that is the reality we live in. And according to Martin Brundle from Sky F1, we're definitely going to see a move for Max elsewhere, potentially to Mercedes. Elaborating on the current situation on the grid and how Red Bull's downfall could impact Max's future, Brundle went on to say, "I think if Max Verstappen sprung onto the marketplace, I would be quite worried for George, actually, because Kimi's obviously their man to flip-flop for the future. But there's a lot of ifs in there. George is doing a great job for them as team leader, but Toto missed Max once. I don't think he'll miss him a second time should he get the opportunity. There are many factors that suggest Max could be leaving Red Bull. Just looking at their neighbors in the UK, Aston Martin, they have the combination of almost all the key personnel that left Red Bull in the past couple of years, starting with Newey and ending with Honda. Yes, Dan Fallows is no longer part of that team and could be on his way back to the Austrian team, but we've seen that he might not be the key to success at Aston Martin. Be that as it may, Mercedes won't miss the opportunity to sign Max for the second time in a row. And even though Wolff is happy with the lineup he has right now, I doubt that he'll pass on the chance to have Max in his own rows. With all of this in mind, what do you think about Max's future with Red Bull after the disastrous Bahrain Grand Prix? And more importantly, do you think this is too much to handle for a four-time world champion like Max Verstappen? Let us know in the comments below. And once you do that, make sure to click on the video that's appearing on your screen right now.